please go to tinkercad.com and create a new circuit within circuits. If you haven't created circuit number 1, please do that before doing this. Please watch that video and create the first circuit before creating this new second circuit. So we create a new circuit, and the first component we'll need is a breadboard. And we will need a power supply. We're going to power this with our Arduino, but I'm going to put that in later. What we're going to be building today is a circuit that uses a potentiometer. A potentiometer is a variable resistor that has a knob on it, and when you turn the knob, it changes the resistance. So similar to a resistor, it will reduce the flow of electricity through a circuit. We have some 10 kilo ohm potentiometers in our kits, and so that means they can go from 0 to 10,000 ohms. And so we're going to use this potentiometer to control a motor. We have a DC motor in Tinkercad and in our electronics kits. So now I have a DC motor, and it has 2 terminal ends in rows 3. I'm going to put it in row 1 and 3 just so I can see and tell what's going on. Actually, I can't. Dang. There we go. So in rows 1 and 3, they are not connected to anything right now. My potentiometer has 3 terminals. The center terminal, what are they calling that? I don't know what it's called. I call it the middle. The wipe. Anyways, what you want to do is connect between the middle lead, and either of the outside leads will work for having your potentiometer give you variable resistance in your circuit. So if I was to connect between one end of my motor and the outside end of my potentiometer, I will connect the motor. I have just connected the motor to the potentiometer with this jumper cable. Now I'll go from the middle lead on this potentiometer back to the positive power. I can go from the ground to my motor, and once I have added power, I will have a complete circuit. I'm going to change these colors to the conventional colors for our power. I could, these leads could be direct power from my 9-volt battery or my Arduino, but I'm going to use the power bar to take a wire, a jumper cable, and attach the Arduino's ground to the negative end of the breadboard, and I'll make that wire black. And then I'm going to give this 5 volts of power and bring that power to the positive row on the power strip. And now when I simulate, I should see this motor is turning, but when I move my potentiometer knob, it will change the speed, the rotations per minute for this motor as it turns. So now it's moving rather much more slowly, 66 RPM, and it can go as fast as this many RPM. The next thing I'm going to do in this circuit is to add in a speaker. So I can break this circuit and add in another component, and it will also have the benefit of the power, and it can do its little thing. So the component I'm going to add now is a speaker, but I can't find a speaker in Tinkercad anywhere. So I'm going to use this buzzer, and it's just not as sophisticated as a speaker, but it'll give me some sound. So I have the terminal, the negative terminal of my piezo buzzer is in row 28 of my breadboard, as is the end of my jumper cable that's coming from positive power. So this buzzer is connected here to my circuit, but my circuit is broken because in between row 23, where my positive end of my buzzer is, and the center of my potentiometer, there is no connection. I will make that right now with a jumper cable, like that. All right, so now I've connected to the center of my potentiometer and the and made that connection there, and I should have a complete circuit once again. And the buzzer is making sound, and the volume of the buzzer is modified by my potentiometer, and then the motor is still being affected in the same way. So we're going to reproduce this on the breadboard, and it will work almost as well, except we're really going to wish that the potentiometer really only functions in this range right here, and for the rest, both of the devices are just off. So we really wish we had like a 1,000 ohm potentiometer for this, but we have what we have, and this will be a fun one to make in real life. For our second circuit, we are going to wire up a DC motor, which has some breadboard leads on there. We're going to put a potentiometer in our circuit. We can twist that knob and vary the resistance in our circuit. And I've also got a speaker to add into the circuit, and I'm going to be trying to lay it out like this Tinkercad sketch. So I'm going to put this motor in right here, and that is going into 2 adjacent rows on my breadboard. So that's going into, actually I'm going to put it right here, we'll be able to see a little better. Going into the breadboard in the 2nd and 3rd rows. And so I'm going to put a black jumper cable going from the point right in front of the left lead. There, that's hard. And then that goes back to the ground, where I will eventually attach my power. And then the other end of the motor, I'm going to take a jumper cable, and that's going to go off to the potentiometer. So I'm going to be adding this jumper cable, attaching the other lead on the motor to the outside lead on the potentiometer. I'm going to put the potentiometer on the breadboard just to make sure that I have room for these components. And this guy will fit in there, and it goes every 3, it has 3 leads, and they will fit in the breadboard with a space in between each lead. And so I can add in that jumper cable. My yellow jumper cable is going from the right lead on my DC motor, and those are in rows that are adjacent to one another, to the left lead on my potentiometer. And so this yellow jumper cable here is in the same row as the terminal, the left terminal on my potentiometer. My next jumper cable I'm going to place is this one right here that's going to go to my speaker, and Well, actually, I think I'm just going to go back to the positive power, and we'll just see how this affects the motor running, like it did in the video Tinkercad walkthrough, and then we'll add the speaker in afterwards. So now I've added from the middle lead on my potentiometer. I put the red jumper cable in that same row, and then that's going back to my positive power. I'm now going to attach this to power, add a connector for a ground, and add a connector for my positive power. I'm going to attach that to my little Arduino here. To the analog ground. There are two places there. It doesn't matter which one I choose. And I'm going for 5 volts on the power, so that's now attached to my Arduino. It does not want to stay on the screen. And then I'm going to plug in my USB cable. And that gives me some power, and now I'm going to turn my potentiometer knob and get some motion on that motor, hopefully. But not till I get to the very far ranges of the potentiometer knob. So, you know, there's a lot of turn there, a lot of turning. Turning. And then when I get to the very end, my motor will start. Come on, buddy. I'm getting to the very end. And so there, and I don't have a lot of play there. You know, I either have. So, okay. Let me unplug the power like so for a moment. And I'm going to break this circuit, and I am going to add in a little speaker. So here's my speaker. I'm going to place that in the breadboard however I can make it fit. So I have got it going from row, it's got, the leads are in rows that are 4 apart from each other. And so there is a lead here. I'll go into that same row, and then the other lead was 4 away from that, and so that's right there. And then that goes, this wire right here is now going to go into that middle leg of the potentiometer. I opened up that circuit and added the speaker in there. I think I can bend the potentiometer back a little bit so you can see. Okay, so now I'm going to try again. We add the power back. And now not a thing. Let me turn my speaker around. There we go. Seems to be providing a little bit too much resistance with the speaker in there for it to also run the motor at the same time. But let me try the buzzer and see how that, if that'll be enough power to, the speaker's providing 8 ohms of resistance likely, which is, the buzzer's just kind of lame. There. But the buzzer's not doing much. is that.